It seems like there's a handful of politicians that flip-flop on the issue of gun control every time there's a mass casualty event, and Maine is no different. But you do have to ask yourself if their loyalty is to their constituents or their money. Yeah, no, scratch that, because the answer is always political alliances and money, but one lawmaker in Maine has made his price pretty obvious. Apparently, all you have to do to change his mind is give his kid a job. Hello everyone, and welcome back to this channel for yet another unsurprising story, where the real story is the fact that a politician didn't think people would figure things out. But before we get into the details, today's video is brought to you by Blackout Coffee Company. They are a Florida-based coffee roaster who supports your rights, this channel, and veterans, all through their amazing, truly amazing selection of coffees, teas, and hot chocolates. They even have partner roasts that donate directly to some of your favorite gun rights groups like GOA, so you know that your money is going to a good cause. To help support them and this channel, go to blackoutcoffee.com/LibertyDoll. P.S. The Valentine's Day sale is now live with 20% off your order with code BLACKOUTLOVE. The events in Lewiston took everyone by surprise. Well, except maybe the FBI. And so there's the typical do something knee-jerk reaction. That something would probably be for the offender to have been reported to the proper authorities and put in the right databases before everything went down. But if that happened the way it was supposed to, then these things wouldn't keep happening and the powers that be would have to stump for something else. I'm not calling it a conspiracy, but it's a little suspicious. Anyway, one of the folks who has now flip-flopped on the issue of gun control is Maine's Senate President Troy Jackson. Now, Jackson is a Democrat, or he ran as an independent and is now a Democrat, but either way, he was allegedly pro-gun. The NRA has endorsed him for consistently opposing gun control measures, though I don't know how much that really means these days. All was fine and good until a funny thing happened. An anti-gun group hired his son's lobbying firm, and now that the family is getting paychecks from the Maine Gun Safety Coalition, he's changed his tune. Imagine that. And a funny detail here is it's not just his son that got a new job with the anti-gun group. The firm is also run by Jackson's former chief of staff, B.J. McCollister. Jackson's son is a partner in the company. So there's two fun connections. The Maine Gun Safety Coalition hired McCollister and Chase Jackson in December to, quote, manage the overall strategic initiative to advance gun safety reform. A spokesperson said that their work includes both state house and external advocacy, and that Lewiston demands that we make every effort to make reforms. Among their biggest agenda issues are instituting 72-hour waiting periods and expanded background checks to include private sales. In fact, they're often described as the Maine version of Everytown. Jackson has voted against their proposals in the past, but now is apparently in full support, full steam ahead. Jackson says that his position hasn't changed, but is also talking out of the other side of his mouth and told anti-gun activists that those anti-gun bills he voted against in the past now have his full support. I don't know if you can hear that, but Liberty Toddler is expressing her displeasure from all the way downstairs. Audio of a meeting was obtained by the Maine Wire in which he said, so you know, there's definitely legislation that's been either introduced in the past, legislation that I voted against time and time again, that we'll deal with this session to try and make sure that, or try and make an attempt to make it so something like that won't happen again. We need to do more, make sure that people like Robert Carr doesn't get guns. I mean, if you're a gun advocate, if you're someone comes from a hunting, tradition, I would say that the best way to make sure that you continue to do what you love and have done all your life is to make sure that Robert Carr doesn't get that people like Robert Carr doesn't have weapons. So that last bit is a little bit of extortion, basically saying that if you want to continue to be able to hunt and enjoy your rights, you actually need to vote away your rights. That last bit made a few gun blog headlines, but at the time, his son's connections to the Everytown of Maine weren't known. Jackson also gave a statement that Maine has to try to find new ways to try and keep people safe, and followed it by submitting a bill titled An Act to Address Mass Shootings and Gun Violence in Maine, though zero details on this have been released, and Jackson is refusing to talk about it, which does not bode well. See, again, very upsetting to the toddler downstairs. It could all be a very big coincidence, but I've been following government shenanigans long enough to know that there is no such thing as a political coincidence. Hi! Okay, the toddler has entered the room and is in imminent destruction mode, so I will make this quick. That is it for this video. You guys know all of the things for the algorithm to help the video, and as always, thanks for tuning in, and happy shooting.